Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Top Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rob. Joined with me are my friends Lou.
Hello, hello.
And Mike.
Ni hao, you doing? I'm learning new languages.
Okay. Okay. Are any of those any of the where the Topper Nation is? The Topper International Nation is?
I don't know. I don't ever look at those numbers, so I couldn't tell you. But by statistics, it's highly likely.
There we go. So first, I kind of got an audible for you guys. I think one thing I'd like to start doing with every podcast is a new section called Talking with Toppers. Basically, this is just something where we can read off any comments or, things you guys put on our video or Spotify that we find interesting. So I want to say people highly recommended, Arn recommended Arrival, which I know I saw in the Topper Cantwell's apartment in college. I saw the ending to it. Don't remember much, but it looked good. Then Bakocraft, which is Mike. Who is Mike Flanagan?
Mike Flanagan most famously did The Haunting of Hill House and is queued up to do the Talisman TV show. He also did Midnight Mass, Fall of the House of who's Usher, and one of my personal favorite deep cut horror movies, Hush. Oh, and I want to say Oculus. I mean, the guy's got a killer resume.
As a non-horror person, I don't know any of those.
That's fair. I think you would actually get down with Hush, though. That was more of just like a intense survival thriller with a bad guy.
Mm-hmm. First mate Dan says that he loved watching Iron Giant as a kid, and that Forrest Gump, he agrees with you, Lou. He says Forrest Gump is a comfort movie for him every so often, and it's a definite classic. So, got him. But I think we're going to have... I know we didn't offer any Topper points, but I think we're going to have to take one away from Dan, or 3 away, because he hasn't finished Lord of the Rings trilogy, theatrical or extended. So, Lieutenant Dan, you can get the... Lieutenant Dan... My goodness, you messed me up from 2 weeks ago, Mike. First mate Dan, you can get those top points again when you watch all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
But if it makes you feel any better, I'm giving you 5 Michael points as long as you remain not having watched them.
Ooh. What can you do with Michael points?
Absolutely nothing. But he's got them.
They're just like
purely for bragging rights, and you got to keep track of them yourself. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, cash those out in heaven, big dog.
And last but not least, name of user said he respects the Inside Out pick, Lou, but his sister, who watches all the time, kind of ruined the movie for him.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know if this would be a good segue since we just had an awkward cut, but I took a picture of myself with my hair looking all crazy today on Snapchat and sent it to somebody with the caption, I'm all coked out on caffeine and vitamin C, which was true. And as I hit send, I noticed the caption come back, or like the message had beat me to the sending that just said, I'm sad. And then I was like, and so I immediately hopped onto YouTube, found the clip of Lou being like, no, this is how I learned it's okay to be sad. Clipped it into a short and just responded with that because I didn't know what else to do. So, you're saving me. You're making things slightly less awkward for me. So I appreciate that, Lou.
Yeah, that's good. I try to do that for my friends.
Yeah. And this week we're taking it back to I think some of us for middle school, but at least high school. And I know Mike, we have a couple blind ranks to start off, or rank blindly. Mike, you got one to put us right in the mood of that era that you want to start with?
Oh, absolutely. Blind rank these bands that aren't technically worship bands, but would be approved by your youth pastor. Complicated enough? We'll figure it out as we go. Number 1, Reliant K.
See, I've grown to like Reliant K. Back in high school, I didn't actually like Reliant K that much.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. Just the was it Matt, the main singer?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really enjoy his voice, but I also didn't like My Chemical Romance for the same reason, and now I like My Chemical Romance. So just in case, I'll put that at 2 for me. What do you got, Lou?
I don't know if I've ever. No, I don't think I've ever heard any Reliant K songs.
Dude. See, I was a little bit worried about this happening.
Mood ring?
Yeah.
I am sending you, Lou, I'm going to send you each song on Spotify, like one big hit from the band.
Be my... Oh, the Sadie Hawkins dance in their khaki pants. There's nothing better. Oh.
Classic.
What?
Girls asking guys. It's always a surprise.
Nothing better.
Do you like my sweater?
It's a little too punk for me. I'm gonna go 4.
Okay.
Is Hawk Nelson going to be on this list?
No, but yeah, it did come across. All right. Next up, we got Skillet.
5.
It's like the opposite for me as Reliant K, where loved him in 6th grade. I thought it was super edgy and I was very hardcore. And then I got like real music. Seen him in concert twice. One of them was
Monster
I paid
makes
for.
my nuts itch.
What? You don't feel like a monster.
Can't do it. Makes my nuts itch.
Yeah, lyrically not the strongest. For the sake, I'm going to do this for the sake of my childhood. I will put it at 1.
Whoa.
I also don't trust. I mean, he hit us with the Alvin and Chipmunks that number 5 last time, so I'm actually just protecting that spot. And
All right.
the Comatose album, I can still jam with it.
I love Awake and Alive, not because I think it's a good song, but because one time the youth group band covered it on a week I was not playing, and our boy Danny D was on bass, and he had been fighting for like a year and a half to be given a microphone and sing, and they wouldn't do it, but they let him sing the waking up, and he would like stomp his whole body, start like every phrase, so he'd just like boom. It was the best. He got so into it, and we kind of just made fun of him for a very long time after that. And then he quit asking for a microphone. All right, next up, Evanescence.
I just know the one song, and I know it more for the goofy thing. I'm going to put that at 4. Wake me up. Can't wake up. Is Evanescence a Christian band?
I don't know necessarily if they were Christian bands, but it was one of the things where they were youth group approved.
I mean, I'm a little nervous. 'Cause I really like Call Me When You're Sober a lot. Really good song. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go 1. I really like Call Me When You're Sober. It's a really good song.
It kind of blew my mind that you knew an Evanescence song other than Bring Me to Life.
Bring Me to Life.
I mean, they have an
cheating.
explicit. Their 2021 album has explicit stuff in it, so I don't know. But they could have evolved, like Flyleaf or something. Next one. What do I got? I got 1, 2, and 4. Okay.
Switchfoot.
I like Switchfoot a lot. I don't even know what I have left.
3.
I like Switchfoot. Do I have 2 left? I have 2 still.
I think you have 2 and 3, right?
Yeah, I think so. I really like Switchfoot.
I think they were great at the time, and I think they're still great now.
Yeah, my pastor's a big Switchfoot fan. He's got me back onto it. I'm gonna go 2.
Your pastor is a huge Switchfoot fan. That's where I discovered the band, actually.
All right, what's my number 5?
Rob, you killed it. Lou, I'm so sorry to do this to you, man. Coming in last is your boy Toby Mac.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh,
Booming.
Toby Mac is good. He's the one that does the Cheerio song, right?
What?
What?
Sleeping Cheerios on the ground. No.
I mean, that sounds about right, actually, but
lyrically
I know
strong
him from
enough for
DC
him.
Talk, but I guess he had his own single artist experience afterwards that he was more well known for.
Yeah, I think it's bigger. I had the Welcome to Diverse City album. I got it from the Christian Bookstore on Ford Road.
It's a restaurant now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think Skillet would move to 3 and everything else would move up. But I also don't know Evanescence, so I could be sleeping on them. I'll have to give it a listen to.
Good stuff. So I feel weird coming out. What? I'm not gay.
Gotta keep it. He said it. It's live. We're gonna got one thing for you.
I'm so sorry, buddy. I mean, hey, I feel weird being the next person to do this, but whatever. Top 5 oddly satisfying things. Oddly is a. I feel like I could have used a better word than oddly, but I couldn't think of any. So oddly it is. Are you guys ready?
No, but let's
I'm
go with
born
it.
ready.
Oh, that's good. Catching something that is falling. Catching a falling item.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, that is a good one. I'm gonna go 2.
Yeah, I think I'm with Mike on this one too.
If I'm by myself, I'm definitely doing the Spider-Man pose.
And then it falls and
getting
breaks. And you're like, dang.
getting a nice after workout pump.
Ooh. Go
Muscle
4.
4.
What do you mean by after workout pump? Because you're saying after work pump?
No, like after your workout, your muscles are all full.
Okay.
Like, you
See, when I think
I
pumping,
call it being swole.
I think pumping iron. So I'm like, why are you working out after a workout? That's why I was confused. Well, that is a good feeling. It'll be different. I'll say 3.
Nice. Let's do putting on warm, drier clothes.
5.
Yeah, 5.
No disrespect, but I just think
It's
that
fleeting.
there's too much potential. Yeah.
That's fair. Let's do peeing outside in a warm summer breeze.
4.
I got 1 and I got 3. I told myself I was going to leave the last one for 3 because I don't trust Lou not to pull something on me, but I can't do it. I say 3.
Nice.
What's our
Waking
number
up
1?
fresh. Waking up fresh before an alarm.
Oh,
Never
1.
happens, but that's a good one.
There you go. That's it.
Here we go. How
Nothing
would you
weird.
rank them, Lou?
Listen. I'm not a degenerate. I know. I have a story about peeing outside. Shout out to my youth pastor for being like, hey, once you become an adult, you're gonna go to jail. And hey, you learn a lot of things at youth group. But yeah, peeing outside is number 1 for me. The next house I buy, that is one of the things I'm looking out for, is to be able to make sure
A
that
nice
there's
tree
no
line or
The peeability of the house is a key factor.
Can I get that on
ability
Zillow?
to house- Huh? Oh,
Peeability.
The ability factor in
I'm
Zillow.
a big fan, man. I don't know what to say. If I could, I would go butt naked and pee outside. Where my dog's at. Number 2 is a nice workout pump. That feels, it just, yeah, so good. I'm gonna do catching a fallen item, and then waking up before alarm, and then putting on fresh dryer clothes. In the winter, the fresh dryer clothes I think is clutch, but it only is good for the winter. So
Now, fresh dryer blankets, I'd say that's a little better than clothes. But
Ooh, fresh dryer blankets are good.
you're gonna get static shock like crazy though.
dude, my house is so dry, it's just static shock everything, anyways.
Oh,
I use dryer balls. We're clear. We're good all the time.
Doesn't matter if it's this dry. The cold wind.
I just meant that like I wouldn't get the shock because we use dryer balls.
Fair.
dry holes.
All right, so my list is blindly rank these 2010s slang without knowing what comes next, and it's like late 2000s, early 2010s. But the first one, and you can rank this as this is what I use the most, or this is one I would still use today. Just I guess kind of say your list. This first one I used almost religiously, and still not nearly as much, but I'll still use every now and again. It's swag.
5.
5. I knew which one. That's so funny because I feel like I just got to know you right at the end of this.
Baby J, he kept on using swag, and I'm like, I'd like that swag.
Yeah, I remember when you said swag a lot.
Swag. Next one is, I don't know if Mike's going to know this one, but on fleek.
Oh my gosh, 4.
The whole saying is pretty funny, but I'm gonna go. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm gonna go 4 as well.
Next up, cray cray. That was cray cray.
That's my
3.
1. That's my 1.
That's your one? You like cray cray?
Yeah. I like cray quite a bit.
Next up is definitely a gamer saying, it's pwned. You just got pwned, noob.
2.
It's about to explode.
That build up for it.
I got 3.
3, all right. So we got Mike's number 1 and Lucian's number 2 is yes! With
Good.
3 A's and 2 S's.
Can I just set all of them to be 5?
Nope.
Oh man, Mike.
Oh, I forgot how much I couldn't think of any, and now I remember why.
Blacked them out of your mind.
Oh, that was brutal. I did not like that.
Well, talking about swag and things, we're going to talk about growing up in youth group, or whenever we got in youth group. I guess we can start off, when did you guys start going to youth group?
The summer after 5th grade, they had a pool party to let all the upcoming would-be 6th graders get a feel for what it was going to be like.
I feel like you guys were pretty early. Like, was that one of the first youth group outings? I know your dad kind of started that whole thing. So I don't know if you're
No, that is not how I. There was a guy named Dave Beetham. He was a camp fellow, and he kind of, I'm guessing, was a volunteer youth pastor for a little while.
Sorry, I meant your dad was kind of on the ground floor of the church, so then you would have been around when the youth group was getting started.
Yes, he was on the ground floor of the church. That he was. But yeah, so I don't know how long it existed before I got there. But yeah, that was it was definitely something where it was like we didn't get a choice. It was just like, hey, you're going to this now.
Your Wednesday nights are now taken.
Yeah, pretty much.
How about you, Lou? When did you start going to youth group?
My 10th grade, I went to. Yeah, my 10th grade.
10th grade.
10th grade, I went to the last day of youth group. And then I started.
Nobody invited you, though. Like, you'd been going to church longer, and just, if I recall, nobody knew you were a teenager.
Nobody knew I was a teenager. Yep. Nobody. So I was actually volunteering at the church. I did a year. The whole my freshman year. Everybody thought I was a grown man, and so I just like volunteered at Sunday school for the Yep. And then 10th grade, summer of 10th grade, I gave my life to Christ.
Okay, so it was like that summer you went to the camp. Nice. I think there was like was it Cubbies? Is that one thing it was called? Like, it's not quite youth group, but there was that elementary school, but I was like always going to that. And then my I think my old church had middle school started 6th grade, so I'm right there with you, Mike. Now, one thing is interesting for Mike and Lou's church is their youth group was all one building, 6 through 12, which
not initially.
Okay.
By the time Lou got there, it was. When I started, it was middle school, high school. It might have been different days because it was either different days or you had different host families because we were doing it in a house. We were doing it at the Allen's house in Canton. And it was, I mean, they had a nice house, they had a nice basement, and so we'd hang out and play like basketball in the front yard and stuff, or the driveway. And then we'd all head down to the basement. And then I want to say my freshman year, we started meeting at the Salvation Army Church in Plymouth, right across the street from Zach's Coney Island. Awesome fries, not that good, just saying.
They hit. There's a certain time they hit. That's all I'll say. Certain time of night.
Certain amount of booze, maybe, but no, not for me, man. That's a no from me, dog. And then, yeah, at some point, I think it was pretty darn close to, I want to say it was my junior or senior year, they combined the two groups. So it was 6 through 12 all in one building. And we'll get to that, but I had some feelings.
Yeah. For mine, it was, the 6th through 8th grade were at the church, and then they had this barn on location. They called it the barn. Very creative, but that was where the high schoolers were. But I remember my senior year, I would occasionally go to your guys' church because my friend started going there. And I thought it was so weird that you guys had, 6th graders and seniors. Because at the time, I'm like, oh, I'm a 12th grader. I'm too cool for these middle schoolers and everything. And so I just thought it was so weird to me that it was like one combined mess. What did you think of that, Lou? Especially coming in like 11th grade. Did you care at all, or you're just like, nah, we chill?
I never really. I think the 6th graders were too afraid to even interact with me.
The man mountain walking amongst them.
Yeah,
Full mustache.
This like grown man, yeah, who's like sitting with the kids. So I didn't really like interact with any of them. So, yeah, I didn't care.
What would you guys say like your favorite part of youth group was?
I liked when it was over.
uh, yeah, I mean, youth group was really big for me. I think that first year at church, nobody really talked to me. And I was friends with like the kids that I was serving with, so I was more popular with the kids than anything else. And so when people finally knew I was a teenager, I feel like I kind of got a little group. And so just having friends, having like Christian friends for the first time, and not have to worry about like weird stuff for the most part. Does that make sense? I can go into more details.
Mm-hmm. No, I gotcha.
Just like, I think that was like huge. Just the love, there's no like competing or weird stuff. I think was really important for me.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, being homeschooled, a lot of my social group was derived from church and youth group. So I did really like when it was over because I wasn't a huge fan of youth group pretty quickly. But I also did like the beforehand time when it was just you get to be social and just hang out with your friends before they'd force you into boxes. I did really enjoy that part.
They put you in boxes?
Metaphorical boxes.
Oh, nice.
Did you feel like as a pastor's kid you had, I know you've like said in the past, especially during church, you feel like you had to act a certain way. Did you feel that so much at youth group, Mike? Or is it a little more, you could cut loose?
Oh, I was told that.
You said, bet.
There were no feelings about it. It was made
cray-cray.
very clear what the expectations were. And I had no intention of following that for pretty much the duration. So there was
no intention of like holding. What do you mean by that?
I wasn't getting in that box, There were varying amounts of direct things that were just put right into words. I existed through three youth pastors. So Dave was good. He's a good guy. I've been to his church a few times out in Kalamazoo. And I don't think he was doing anything too outrageous or crazy. I was also a 6th and 7th grader when Dave was running youth group, and so he really didn't have time to. Like by the time I reached an age where there was like reasonable expectation to be expected, or even unreasonable expectation to be expected, he had moved on with his career. Then we got the middle guy. I hated.
Right?
What's up?
He was a British cat, right?
He was a British cat, and I absolutely hated that guy. He made it very clear what he expected of myself and the other pastors' kids. Because of who we were, we had absolutely, and we did not, we pushed back on that hard. Mm-hmm. To the extent that when he quit, they had this point where they were like, okay, if anybody's all broken up and needs to talk about it, we're going to go into small group and we're going to talk about it. And like everybody kind of took their turn, and it got to me and the other pastor's kid, and we were both kind of like, I'm freaking glad he's going. Like, screw that guy. We did not like him. Our freshman year, the second it got let out one time, we just walked across the street to the CVS and walked back. And they absolutely lost their mind.
Really?
And
CVS.
Yeah, we were pushing back on that guy hard. But him and a couple of the other people that were involved were really on. No, you guys gotta be leaders trained. And especially in our 9th grade year, I was like, dude, we are the youngest people here. Ain't nobody gonna listen to us. Like, who are we setting an example for? Like, get out of here. And then he left, and Dan Pratt rolled in, and Dan Pratt had me and Dylan like eating out of the palm of his hand within like 45 seconds. So, and we were ready to hate him. Like, we were like hunkered down in my room when he was coming in for his initial visit, being like, all right, this is what we're going to do to this guy. Like we were so like ready for another of the we were just not prepared for how awesome Dan was.
He hit you with the what up, y'all, and just disarmed you.
He heard it was over. So that the expectation issue continued, but it changed under Dan. It was nowhere near as bad or as, I think, blatantly toxic under Dan.
I definitely feel that. Dan was the only one I knew from your guys' church when I went there. So that was my senior year, but yeah, great guy. I wish him all the best. Hope he's doing well.
He seems to be. I don't hear from him ever, but I see some stuff on social every now and then, and he seems like he's just doing exactly what he wants to be doing now.
Yeah, he's doing children ministry. I talk to him maybe once a year. We have a really good conversation.
That's dope. Tell him I said hi.
Yeah, same.
Will do.
I will say for me, because you guys were the building they are now and where they were when you were going there. Wasn't it like a business building?
Yeah, it was a combination office and like warehouse, and the church bought it and converted the warehouse into a sanctuary, and then converted a lot of it into just some common area and then the kids area. And initially they kept some of the offices as offices, but as it grew, they eventually turned all of the upstairs into kids church as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was weird for me. One of my favorite parts about youth group was in like the fall and spring, we'd always have like outdoor games and all that. So maybe we'd go out and play a round of ultimate frisbee and all that. So it was just kind of weird that whenever I went to the Life Church, it was, like the indoor winter games, which is fair. And now they have like, 9 square and Gaga ball and all that. So I'm sure they're outside more. But to me, it was just so weird. Like you guys never went outside unless there's like a big event going, it seemed like.
Yeah, there were some of us we'd play a lot of football and stuff out in the parking lot. But before they expanded it, like they've since like made the parking lot way bigger. It was a much smaller parking lot, so you could play like one game of football over on the side. But the manicured grass that you see now was like completely overgrown, like fields. So there wasn't really anywhere to, because it was just parking for a business that eventually got blown into a massive parking lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's funny you got in trouble going to CVS, because right by the barn there was like this bridge where we would walk across this I-beam to get to this gas station. So we very often, whenever we had extra money, we'd go there and like get a Mountain Dew. It's where my friend Jake bought a lighter, which ended up getting us suspended. But that's
wait, Jake's got a lighter?
Jake's got a lighter. I'm sure he does somewhere. What up, Jake? So.
Yeah, I think if we had done it beforehand, we might have got away with it. But I think technically speaking, until you are picked up by your parent, you are still like in the custody of the people watching you at church. Mm-hmm. And so I think technically we left the premises before we were returned to our parents' custody. And so there was some kind of like safety insurance issue. It was actually probably the most valid thing they ever got mad at. And we did a lot of stupid stuff, but
yeah, Lou, can you remember some?
You guys left. That them doing stupid stuff. A lot of it was like Bear Lake stuff. A lot of nakedness. A lot of throwing things.
There was a reasonable amount of nakedness. I wouldn't say a lot.
Reasonable?
It was just the most naked white men I've ever seen. Just, like, there's a lot of naked dudes around here. I don't know what kind of camp this is. But no, not really a lot of like a lot at Bear Lake, but not a lot of youth group.
By the time Lou was there too, we had there was a lot more people had driver's licenses, and we were doing a lot of our stupid stuff totally off campus. Mm-hmm. You had a little more room to breathe. You didn't need to rebel where the supervision was.
Yeah, 'cause Lou, that would have been like 2011, 2012, right? That was our 11th grade year. So, Mike, you would have been a senior.
Yeah.
You were like foot out the door.
I think I got my foot out the door early to the extent that I have a vague recollection of quitting, like going to my parents and be like, hey, I want to be done. I don't want to go anymore. Here's why. I know I quit the team halfway through my senior year. Presented them with what I, at the time, thought was a wonderful argument for why I've done. I'm not even convinced I was wrong, other than my own, like the reasons on paper were accurate, but my own motivations were a little shaky. But the argument itself, I think, still holds water.
Yeah, I know Mike and I were both on the worship team at our respective youth groups. Lou, did you do anything like student serving for youth group at all?
No. No.
I don't think there were really options to do so.
I didn't know what there was, like I said.
Yeah.
Their
team, yeah.
Nope. No, nothing. Just went.
Showed up, had a good time. Could be weird.
Showed up and
Sweet.
had a good time. Man. Just a good old Big Lou time.
Got people in the fro zone. Deep pull.
I will say, I do think when Lou was there, he was coming in on probably the tail end of the golden age. And he came in right after the change to the 6 through 12 format came in, so he didn't even know what he was missing. So if you're only going to be there for 2 years, you did have a really good 2 years to be there for. Not necessarily the best possible 2 years, but still a really strong 2 years.
Yeah, I had a really good crew of friends. I had both the Jareds. Shout out to them.
Dude, the Jareds were the best.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, Dan. I think Big D is the same people we're talking about. Yeah. So, I mean, I could only say, I was like, when we're talking about this, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna praise youth group for an hour. So that'd be cool. That's a good time.
That's good. One thing I liked about your guys is you had like, especially because it felt so big, just because it had all those grades. Like I liked how you guys had, as a student, I liked how you guys had small groups. As a leader, it was a different story because like a lot of times the kids wouldn't want to talk, and like me and my co-leader were like trying to get stuff out, but it was just like, yeah, can't force someone to speak.
Wait, so did you not have small groups in your youth group?
No, we had. I mean, sometimes there'd be breakout stuff, but for the most part, if I remember, it was I'd get there, practice for band. We would have our icebreaker opening game, worship, and then have either Larry or Mark, depending on what year it was, would come and they'd give a message, and we'd, and then that was basically it. We'd go our separate ways.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
There was like there was a Sunday small group, but I never went to those for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, right from the jump, the format at Life was worship, big group, small group, discussion questions.
Like a game, right, in the beginning?
Yeah, there was usually some kind of that was better earlier on. As it got bigger, the game kind of got broken down to the point where you couldn't really come up with a game for that many people. Yeah. But some kind of like icebreaker activity.
So I have a vivid memory of my first time going there. The icebreaker was they were filming. This is how old this was. They're like, all right, guys, everyone get ready. We're going to film our version of the Harlem Shake. And I'm like, what the heck did I just walk into?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what that was. I was very confused.
It was a TikTok dance before TikTok was a thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it had Alex B up there with like some weird like old man mask. Started the dancing or whatever.
I mean, I don't remember this at all, but that I believe every word you just said.
Yeah, that was
that all
my
rings true.
Senior year, so you would have been out the door by then.
That makes more sense now. Yeah, we did a few things though where we did like internet trends, and I was just like, huh?
What's the internet?
What's the internet?
So I guess Lou, what was the small groups your favorite time there? You say like the more interpersonal.
Yeah, I mean,
times?
so like a little backstory for me. I went to like I think 5 different schools before I went to high school, and so I never kept the same friends for more than a year. And so for my junior and senior year, I had the same group of friends, really for the first time. And I had friends in high school and freshman year, but I don't know, like I think youth group did a really good job with like just creating community. That it was just really cool just to hear about, my friends' days. And then we had the same. I had Jay Shea as a leader for both years. So, uh, and he was just like a really calm presence that I just really enjoyed.
Great mustache
So,
too.
great mustache. He would get in fights with some of the kids though, not physical fights, but I do remember a handful of times where Dan,
Yeah, I was gonna say I
really
remember
tried to.
a few times there. Dan was
I
trying to
remember
square up.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is something. But no, it was very pivotal. It was my first like real experience of community, and I needed that.
Did you guys go to like any? Obviously, Michael did, but I don't know about you. Do you guys have like any college youth groups, anything like that?
College youth groups. What do you mean, like where the college people kind of hung out,
Well, yeah.
or
So like Mike and I at Life Church, we had Integrate, so it was just like youth group. We meet up. I believe it was every Tuesday night. Kind of have just like a sermon or a study, and then break out sometimes in the small groups. And then the real fun part was we'd go get food after, which is where all my
that was
paycheck
the
went.
best.
My mom's so my mom telling me to save my money, but hey, where's the fun in that?
for me, no. I mean, football was everything going into college, and if I wasn't doing football, I was failing at school. So I didn't really take any time to do anything else for my first 2 years.
And it was a
College
Christian
is
college too,
like
right?
one of the most underrepresented in churches. There's like just a drastic lack of programming for college age students. That's part of. I mean, there's a lot of reasons you lose college age kids at church, but that is one of the contributing factors. Is they're just kind of like, all right, well, you're not. Poof.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost like, oh, we put that on campus ministries to fill that gap when churches should be doing that. Because that was especially I went to community college first, and there was nothing there. So my first year, I was just lonely and depressed the whole time. And then I finally messaged Dan, be like, hey, you guys got a college thing? And thankfully they did, because it brought me out of a pretty bad funk. But it was definitely a good lifeline to have, and that still an impressionable age.
Yeah. And like, man, we got listeners who are in the early college age, late college age. I love you guys, and a lot of you are smart, but in general, you're still stupid when you're 18, 19. Like you are not in a place to just start making good, healthy life decisions most of the time. And so it's like, it's not a good time to stop having structure.
That's a great point. You just don't know how stupid you are. I mean, like,
No.
a lot of
you
people
don't.
talk about this, but it generally, you don't know how stupid you are. Like,
No,
that's why people, like, I would have never taken out loans to go to school. But, like,
Oh my
I was
gosh,
dumb
no.
at 18. I was dumb at 18.
And you're told that's
Like,
what you have to do.
What do you expect? And they told us that's to do. So, yeah.
It's okay, Lou. I did the same thing at 21, so that 3 years didn't make too much of a difference. Then we've all served at a youth group, right? I believe so.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there anything that
Like,
you?
serve
I'm sorry.
So you mean serve, like, at a youth group?
Yeah, have you been like a leader or something?
Yes.
Yeah. What is there anything that like you found growing up or going to youth group that you're like, I'm going to try to be intentionally better or different at when you were serving?
Yeah, for me, I just try not to have expectations for the kids, especially based on who their family was. That was such a big thing for me. To be like, hey, look, man, you're going to come here. And outside of just like basic human decency and listening when you're spoken to, I'm not going to try and force any of this down your throat. So that was kind of my goal. It was really weird though being a leader. I will get to that though when we get to that, because you asked a question and I don't want to cut everybody off.
I think for me, I think like a foundation of faith, I think is something that I've been really trying to build currently, and trying to wrap it's I don't know. I have to remind myself that like at that age, it's really understanding what God is and who God is just so hard. Like it is easy in the sense of like Sunday school, right? You sing the songs, but like truly understanding like what love is, what God's love is something that I've really been trying to push. Because it's just hard to fathom, I think, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Lou serving at a small group or a youth group is drastically different than what Rob and I did. We were just leaders. We'd lead a small group when we split off, whereas Lou, you're like running programming, right?
Oh yeah, I'm running the program at my church.
Yeah, so too drastically, my goal was to let the program do its thing and not get in the way and, be the reason somebody had an issue. Lou's job is to be the program, so,
Yeah, for me,
yeah.
I was gonna say, I just wanted to be like, a leader that was available if the kids wanted it, and just be like, hey, like, whatever, like, it's gonna sound weird, but like, hey, I'm chill, we can talk about whatever. If you want to talk about something serious, I'm cool with that. If you want to, just kick back and talk about video games, cool with that. Just trying to like build a relationship, because I felt like for the most part, like besides like the worship leader for my youth group, I didn't really know any of like the adult volunteers. It's like, oh, there's that guy. And like that was for the most part. So I was just trying like to be, not like a role model, but just someone that like older that I could talk to. I guess in a sense, kind of what I would picture like a big brother or something, but nothing to go off of.
Yeah, I had. I don't want to only be negative about youth group. I did have some really excellent leaders in small group. Had a range, and it's interesting to think back, and kind of be like, okay, I know how I pictured some of these guys when I was in youth group. And then I became an adult and I learned things about some of those guys. And I was like, oh, some of you are just normal, flawed humans. Some of you are truly scummy, awful people. Or acted in ways in accordance with being scummy, awful people at the time. I don't know where they are now, But I thought most of my leaders were just super cool and super awesome by virtue of just being leaders and being there. And so I think that's really all you need to do is if you're just available, the fact that you're an older person who's willing to take an interest in, whatever they got going on is really huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess if we're kind of talking about like the good things, I liked being able to do, worship for my youth group. I'm never claimed to be good at the guitar. I can play the 4, sometimes 5 chords required for worship songs. It's not very hard. It was just nice to be able to like have a place where if I messed up, like they wouldn't care. I remember one time I felt so bad. I'm like, Jason, man, I think I should be off the worship team. That second song, I forgot to take my capo off, and I feel like I was just doing terrible. He's like, don't sweat it, man. It's no problem. And it was just like, it was a great place to learn and grow and like be like, yeah, you could mess up, but that's okay. Like we're still just worshiping, praising God and things like that.
Yeah. Low stakes too. It felt high stakes a lot of the time, but like in hindsight, I'm like, dude, this was not that big a deal.
I don't know. Whenever I had to play the quote unquote solo for Inside Out, I was sweating.
I think that song might have come around after Yeah, I don't remember doing that song on the worship team. So, but we were always fighting over who got to do the solos, so that was never a problem with our electric guitar players.
Mm-hmm. I'll send it to you. I think you'd recognize it if you heard it.
I know the song. I definitely know the song. I just don't know if we ever played it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I found my youth group worship leader. It was a lot more niche songs that like I never heard anywhere else and still haven't really for the most part. So shout out to him, not just going with the mainstream stuff.
Yeah, I got into it with my worship leaders a few times. And I got a couple points. I outright said a song sucked, and everyone's like,
How dare
I was like, bro, I didn't say the Bible sucks. I just said this song is bad. It's by the Newsboys. It is inherently is a fact that it's not a good song. Like, calm down.
Which Newsboys song are you just picking?
I don't remember, but pick any old one. I remember it was by the Newsboys.
Yeah, I had something similar for my worship team in college where I'm like, this song's awful, I hate it. And they're like, you can't say that. I'm like, yes I can. It's lyrically so drawl and dry. It's like the same thing over and over again. Repeat songs, man. What else did you guys like about youth group? So it's not just like dumping on youth group.
Huh? Do you want to go, Mike?
I would say somebody else should go, and I will desperately try and come up with something.
Okay, I remember you said you had something. We kind of moved away.
So I was a leader. It was when I was a leader, it was myself, and then I forget his name, but he was such a good guy. He was the guy who ran the audio technical team. And then like we were our co-leaders, and then pretty quickly into the year we got a third guy. Basically his kid was in youth group, and so he was just gonna be a leader, so he didn't have to drive to church and drive back and then drive to church and then drive back. That's my understanding of the situation. And it was so weird because that guy had absolutely no business talking about anything remotely theological with children, to the point where it became the head leaders would run discussion, and my job exclusively was just to play defense against the third leader. And then the head leader like got a job out of state and had to go, and I had to straight up go to Dan Pratt and be like, listen, this guy can't be here. Here's some of the things he said.
He believes in flat Earth.
No, no, it's okay if you do XYZ, and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, sacrifice your firstborn. I mean,
yeah, like it was like, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to boil a goat in the milk of its mother. It's black and white, and this is just one of those things. And literally, like, it was the only time I've gone. I went to Dan, I laid it out, and then next week he was not, like, he was still there, but he was not a group leader anymore. Mm-hmm. And I just had to run the whole thing by myself, and it was still easier, because even though I had to be the whole ship structure, I didn't have to actively work against one of the guys who was supposed to be pulling in the same direction. Mm-hmm. That was wild.
How about you, Lou?
Things I've liked? Sorry, that's hilarious. Yeah. I just picture this guy with like open chest hair and some.
Oh, I'll give you names after the pod. You'll get a great laugh.
Sorry.
Because you might not know him, but you know people connected to him.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, if nobody enjoys this pod, I'm having a great time. Things I've enjoyed. I really enjoy the mission trips, youth group mission trips. Is that good? Is that fair to say?
No, it reminded me of a mission trip I went on.
Oh, okay.
So I got to laugh.
Yeah. Every mission trip in youth group, I didn't start having bad mission trips until I left youth group. And bad is, I still did God's work, so I mean, I just didn't have fun, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really fun. I don't even know if I should say this. Yeah, Yeah, I had a good time.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, I'll just end with that. Youth groups
Which mission trip was your favorite? The one we went
were-
water rafting?
I loved going to. So I will say the first mission trip in West Virginia, I think we went whitewater rafting, and that was exhilarating. I think that was one of the most fun I've ever had. Was it West Virginia? I can't remember
Tennessee.
which one it was. I think it was it Tennessee?
I
That
didn't
sounds
go.
right.
I don't know.
Okay, Tennessee. So both, yes. West Virginia kind of sucked. I was
Screw
trying
you,
to,
West Virginia.
yeah. I mean,
Unless you're a
I
topper.
was super interested in this girl, and I like shot my shot, and she absolutely turned me down. And the whole time, I kind of like was not really good. But I did make a really good friend, Ben. Shout out to Ben. We're still friends to this day.
Ben
And
C?
Benny C?
Yeah.
The one who's on a
Yep.
football
Oh,
team?
nice.
Yep. He ended up, he's a realtor now, so
Good job,
ended up
Ben.
getting my house and everything.
He was our star wide receiver.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. It's hilarious.
Did he hate it as much as I did?
Um, I think Robert, you're really good at hating things, so I don't. I don't.
I hate that you said that, Lou.
Sorry, but no. But then I say so. The first mission trip was garbage, and Dan was like, "All right, the next mission trip, we really gotta, pull all the stops." And we just literally go to one of his hometowns, a town that he served, and it was so much fun. It was a blast. They fed us like kings. I drank so much sweet tea. Um, yeah. I should, when I talk about mission trips, I should talk about the actual work I did, huh?
It's okay.
Nah, you were in high school and doing the things you liked. It wasn't the hard labor.
Okay. Good point. So yeah.
Yeah, the last mission trip I was on, we were in the Life Church bus in Philadelphia, and the bus driver just crashed the bus in a narrow street. Like the cars are parked too much, and he just ripped it. And yeah, it was. We're like, all right, he's gonna go handle the screaming people at him, and like we're gonna shuffle the students away and go to our destination because we're like a block from it. But yeah, it was not fun in the moment, but it's fun to look back at and laugh. I was like, as soon as we go back, he's like, yeah, he's not allowed to drive the bus anymore.
Do we know this person?
Yeah, Ethan.
That's the shorter Jared's older brother.
Ride a motorcycle, tattoos.
I'm very aware of who he is.
Great guy. Just didn't check his blind spots there.
That's funny. I signed up to go on one mission. It was in South or Central America. Like it was going to be somewhere hot. And I did not want to go. I felt very pressured into saying yes. And so I was like fundraising and getting all this money. Trip I was just dreading. And then they canceled it. And I got like, it was like, okay, you have to return your money. But almost like so much of my fundraising was just me asking my family for money for my birthday and Christmas to put towards this. That was the other thing. I essentially had to give up my birthday and Christmas presents to try and go on this freaking missions trip, which when you're in high school is upsetting. And then like my parents were like, well, now you have to get a hold of every single person in the family that gave you money and see if they want the money back. And I was like, and not a single person wanted the money back. So I just ended up with like, I didn't have to go on the mission trip that I didn't want to. And I had like $600 cash. And I was like, hey, you know what? This is all right.
I like mission trips.
Pretty cool.
Anything else you guys want to touch on or hit on?
I will say the events that you would do with your small group outside of youth group, those were always a good time. Like when you'd hang out with your group and just like just do social things, that was really the highlight. So very similar to the way Lou, like just having consistent friends. That was always awesome, you know. There was a lot of connective tissue, in the friend group between my grade of guys and girls, and so we'd do lots of just fun activities over the summer and stuff, and it was a blast. I mean, because of that, we have the me terrifying Hot Kyle's sister by going swimming in their pool story. Like just a lot of good times there. Went trick or treating well into high school with a couple of the guys from my small group.
What do you go as?
I think the best year we went as me and Dylan went as Harry Potter and Voldemort.
I think we talked about that on the pod.
Yeah, we had like full robes, and Dylan put on a swim cap, and we painted his face. And my mom had like made these really fake wands, and we like ran up and down the aisles of a different CVS, pretending to cast spells at each other. We were gonna do it till we got kicked out, and they just didn't seem to care. And so we were like, oh, all right.
An hour later, you're still doing it.
Not quite, but we definitely got bored, and we're like, all right, fine. But
yeah, I remember before every school year, like our youth group would go down to Cedar Point. That was always fun. It was a good time.
Cedar Point trip was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. But for me, I went to a private school, so the school was actually connected to the church that my youth group was. So for the most part, I was just like hanging out with my buddies after school. So I guess to me, it wasn't like maybe we added one or two other people, but for the most part, it's still like my main friend group that I, for the most part, hang out with today, which is really cool. But it wasn't like a totally new friend group where, I didn't see you this week. What's up type of thing.
Right.
Then I'd show up to Life Church and Mike's like, wow, you're in town?
I knew that was going to come up at least once.
Yeah, I live so far away from church, so I didn't really often get to hang out with people unless it was at group. So it was special for me.
Mm-hmm. How is it different as like the top dog or like the person in charge of the program? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, I don't know. Like, how is it different than
I
like
get to bully
being a
kids
leader
all day.
besides just the besides just like the obvious planning? Do you feel like there's like more pressure in a sense, or you're like I'm just rolling with it?
I mean, it comes and goes. I think I talked to one of my pastors recently, in the past year about it, but like, especially when it comes to like creating lesson plans, right? Like, one of the things that my leader said was like, how many actual sermons do you remember Dan actually speaking?
One.
Like, oh no, yeah, one, and it was Chick-fil-A related. That's the reason why I remember it. So I think,
and
like,
I was a leader by the time I remembered it. So if you count when I was actually a student.
And so that really like put things in perspective of the fact that like these kids, they may remember like what they're gonna remember is the relationships that I build with them. They're not gonna remember how fancy I build these programs.
That's not true. You try to get too fancy, and they will remember, and they will hold it against you.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yes, that is a great point. But yeah, it's all about exposure, and it's all about creating relationships, and that's what I think I'm honestly good at, the best at, is creating those relationships. Creating a space where like kids can just feel like be themselves and no pressure. You don't have to know all the answers. If you say Jesus is the answer, I'm not going to scold you because it's true. Jesus is the answer. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's what I really like to do. And I'm a big small games kind of guy. And so I just taught these kids BS.
Oh, nice.
I called
Bible
it liar
study.
though. Bible study. That's hilarious. That's what I should have called it. Oh my
You
gosh.
gotta go to Bible study with that hand.
So I'm literally like, teaching these kids how to lie, and it is so funny to see like their crappy poker faces. It'd be like, I have 4 5s. And I don't know. It's just a really good time.
When are you gonna teach them Dutch Blitz?
I would rather.
When he wants the building to burn down.
Yeah. His last day, he'll.
Just like my youth leader just kept cussing and cussing and cussing. Just couldn't stop.
Playing Dutch Butch with Lou is fantastic.
Oh yeah, okay, that's cool.
Only if you like winning and hearing somebody swear while they lose.
If you like winning, play Dutch Butch with Lou. That's a good point.
I
That's
mean,
a great point.
according to the box, you can play with 2 players, but that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
No, it's not.
Silly.
What is there anything different? Life has kind of changed since we last talked about this type of thing. But you guys basically did like a cry night during the school year. Do you feel like that should have happened? Like at a, cause I feel like it fits the camp week a lot better than just some random week in February or something. You know,
It was stupid and contrived for my money, or at least that's how I felt at the time. As a crescendo to the camp week, it makes sense as a random week in the year where you do this instead of your usual group. And there's like a freaking Catholic guilt level depression hanging over the auditorium hand. You can't even like talk to your friends and have fun without feeling weird for talking. No, that was a mistake.
Lou, I hope you don't do that, or else just got called out.
I love like I think I've already told this story, but we know this guy. But one time we did foot washing as a youth group, and he was having a blast. He was excited to do that, boy. Somebody had some more than other spiritual, really not a spiritual awakening, but something else.
I don't like foot washing. Like I get, the biblical sense of what it symbolizes, but like I don't want you touching my feet.
Oh, I mean,
Well, and it's just not freaking like contextually like it isn't specifically foot washing that's like an important thing. We're not walking around in dirt roads with sandals and dodging candle shit like camel. Yeah, come on.
Would be
It
like
bothers me when people like
shoe
try and
shine
take stuff
now?
that literally.
Like what's the modern day equivalent? Shoe shine? We don't even have leather shoes anymore, though.
No, I mean it's serving people.
Lint roll me?
It's
That'd be for me.
Yeah,
If you lint roll me from all my dog hair, that's the equivalent for me.
it would be potentially equally, if not more, to lint roll a full-grown human. But yeah, I don't think there is an equivalent that you can just do comfortably.
brush somebody's teeth, maybe.
Oh gosh.
No, like.
Lay back, big dog.
Oh, that sound! Can we cut that for a drop?
Yeah, I don't care, man. You do you.
Lean back, big dog.
You know I'm a degenerate.
Washing a car, maybe? I guess that could kind of,
Yeah.
Go on washing your car.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think there's a lot of like deeply personal thing. Like making somebody a meal when they're sick.
Mm-hmm.
That might be on a similar level for today's culture. The point being that trying to like doing foot washing with youth group is one, just a misinterpretation of what the text was trying to say, and two, just a weird thing to do in general that I don't think is going to get across what you're trying to get across.
And you get wiping some guy's feet, and he has the lint all in his toes, and you're just look down, see that like multi-colored water, and ugh. Well, thank you. You always want to be the first one for foot washing. I'll let you know for washing.
Okay, yeah.
Anyways, Lee, what were we gonna say?
No, it's good. Yeah, no. I don't even know where I was getting at with the foot washing thing. I just wanted to talk about how a guy had a foot fetish and they found out in his small group. Oh, we were talking about Cry Night.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Stations of the Cross. But yes.
Yeah, I know they called it something different.
Yeah, Stations of the Cross. That's cool. Yeah, it makes no sense. I think you're trying to orchestrate a certain type of feeling. You're trying to like promote that, but I think it needs to come a little bit more natural than just on a random day.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
hard, you're dealing with, I just got all these tests and all that I have to worry about, and like, it's not like you're not isolated like at camp. You're not like that's the purpose of camp is, especially that week is, that like Mike said, crescendos into that night. But now you're just like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this tonight.
yeah.
So I want to get ice cream after or something,
Right.
Awesome fries.
Not awesome.
What about the Opa?
You want to get some soggy, bland, flavorless, expensive fries?
Gotta
No?
dip them in the
Nobody?
ranch, bro, or ketchup if you're me.
I can't wait to tell this story off pod.
Okay, Mike, what is the best, either when you were a high schooler and someone had a vehicle, or as a college student, or as or serving, what's the best post small group snack place or meal place? Might be Chili's for me. That was a close
honestly, I was gonna say Chili's was a banger. I also really liked Applebee's. Half Apps was
Half Apps is solid.
was a win. We had some limited selection to go on when we were in Integrate. We go to this place called the Library Pub now after my small group, which is technically the young adults group. So I've somehow become the Josh of our
not
group.
very young if you're in there.
It's me and the leader. Me, the leader, and the leader's wife have like 6 years on everybody. But technically, I'm the co-leader of that group now, so I'm like, all right, we're good. I'm in a official position, even though I'm more like social chair than small group leader. But that's a whole separate conversation.
How'd the line dancing go?
I was not a part of that. That was not an
I would have
officially
paid some money to see
sponsored
you
event.
line dance.
I did, however. So the problem was it started at like 8 p.m. and small group ends at 8 p.m. So I couldn't, in good conscience, actually say, "Hey, this is when it's happening." No, you want it? We do stuff after time, so I'm not saying you can't be up late. But I was basically like, "Hey, look, we're all going to dinner this night. And then anybody wants to go line dance, you can go line dance."
So I feel like we were up to like 11 or something, or pushing.
Yeah,
we were about closing down the restaurants when we were there. Right. If it was not. Like
but a lot of us didn't have to work in the morning, so it
or
was
we
a
had to
little
be back
easier.
at that Chili's,
Right. But even then, like Chili's, you had to get there at what, 10 at the earliest?
I think so, or maybe 9.
Yeah, you weren't exactly showing up at 8:30 for work. But now we go to the Library Pub, and the Library Pub's pretty good. I haven't been blown away by the food, but the environment's just top notch.
Lou, what was your favorite we'll just say post group snack spot?
I lived too far away from church to actually do anything after small group, so I never really went anywhere, to be honest with you.
Even now, you got anything now? You went there like once or twice, but you're like, that's enough that it counts.
I really liked. I remember going to Chili's. I mean, that's the reminds me of when me and you went to Chili's and you said no vegetables on my burger, and they put pickles on it, and you were like, no vegetables.
Damn pickles.
That was pretty funny. Oh, I still laugh about that to this day when I see a burger. But so yeah, Chili's is good. I'm not really like a big like after hangout. I think like once we do our thing, we need to go our separate ways.
Well,
and I'll see you later.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, you're so wrong about that, man. It's the best part.
I was gonna say, because you can kind of curate, and whether wrong or right, you can curate who is going. So you can leave all the people you're like, oh, it's nice to see you week. See you next week, and then you're like, all right, let's chill, that type of thing.
Cool Kids Club.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I was never invited to the Cool Kids Club, so maybe.
Hey, when you were with me, you were.
There we go. Yeah, that's very true. I do remember that.
I will say this: the group I'm currently going to, there's nobody that I don't like in the group, which is really nice. But it's just a human thing to be like, I like some of these people more than others.
Who is it? Let me know. Drop it right now. I'll totally bleep out their name and not send them the link.
I ain't gonna tell you. But all you got to do is come to the library pub on Wednesday. Exclusively the top half of people that I like are always like, yeah, I'll go. Now, not all of the top half of people go, but the people who show up always happen to be in the top half of people. So I love it. It's like, I don't have to do any toxic curating. It just happens for me.
Yeah. Well, and the good part is, like, at least for integrate, like the people that wanted, that you like wouldn't want, usually had stuff to do in the morning. They were responsible. So they're lost. We had some pretty good times at Qdoba. There was some shenanigans that went down at Qdoba a few times.
I remember getting to Qdoba being a good time, but...
Is that when you jumped in the back of my truck? Was that to Qdoba? It's definitely going down to Ford Road.
I do remember that one. I was talking about the hid in the back of Carrie's Jeep.
I think it was after 621, right?
Yes, but we kind of did it. It was all the same people from Integrate who would go out after. And yeah, we like hid in the back of my girlfriend's car because she was like moving, so it was just full of boxes. And we just like sat there peeking out from behind the boxes until she noticed there were two full-grown men in her back seat. So my gosh, yeah, profanity just raining from the heavens when she figured it out.
If we had the video still, it would just be nothing but bleeping out, but it was good. You chopping something over there, Mike?
I am not chopping something, but something may be being chopped.
Oh, okay. Well,
despite the promises that she'd be quiet when she got home.
I let her sharpen her knives.
All right. Well, is there any closing thoughts? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Comes to youth group.
What about like crushes? We haven't even talked about that.
Oh yeah, there were plenty.
My main high school crush did not go to my youth group. She went to a different youth group. You wouldn't know her.
She went to a different youth group.
Yeah, you wouldn't know her.
She went to a youth group in Canada. Okay.
That's the vibe I was getting. I didn't know you
That
talking
was
about
the
your
joke.
wife.
No.
Or are you talking about?
No.
Oh, okay.
My wife was not.
Okay.
No.
That would have been inappropriate at the
Yes.
time.
I'm just making
Age
sure.
group age difference does not check out.
I'm just making sure.
No, it's funny you say that though, because like I went back and like I youth grouped when I was a leader at the time. My wife was still in high school and attending there. And it was like a good thing I went away to college, because I think if I hadn't gone, I would have wouldn't have had that like break where I feel like she grew up. Like just I wouldn't have been able to have that same attraction seeing her growing up. That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that's super healthy.
That is healthy for sure.
One of the youth group leaders, who shall remain unnamed,
What are you talking about?
when I was in youth group, like actively hit on multiple girls.
Oh, that guy.
After they got out of youth group. One of whom I was dating, so I was pissed on like multiple levels. I was like, not only are you trying to groom this girl, but you are trying to steal my girlfriend. So very good that you had that time away to, clean the slate.
I remember there was a group, a guy who was doing youth group, a leader in youth group, and he had nipple rings, and he served at Bear Lake, and he wore like a wife beater, and you could see his nipple rings. And I was like, oh, that's wild. It's not good.
Is it at camp?
It was at camp, yeah.
Yeah, I think that constitutes falling outside of the modesty policies at camp. And when you're one of the leaders, you got to be following those rules for sure.
For sure. Unless you're trying to promote something, then that's not good.
I suppose, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what about crushes, Lou? Just that we had them?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I gave my life to Christ is because of a crush. Well, I mean, God probably would have done it some other way, but that's how it happened. Like, I guess I never really got to get a girlfriend through youth group, but I'm very grateful that I didn't, because then we most likely would have broken up, and then youth group would have been weird for me.
I can tell you definitively that is how that works.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful.
But I'm actually really happy I dated the girl that I went to youth group with, because had I not, I wouldn't have then later in life that one of the girls from Lou's embarrassing stories was the same girl.
Wait, what?
I just one. Well, we can talk off pod to confirm the details, but I'm almost positive that. Oh no! There was just a point where like you told a story about a girl and it was awkward, and I told a story. Then it was like, oh wait, that was the same girl. But we also were. I don't remember how it came up, but I think the topic of like first crush ever came up, and again there was some shared DNA in our history. So it's been fascinating to delve into that, but definitely not something I'm doing for the internet to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say it's funny to go as a leader and just see guys simping so hard. You're like, dude, calm down. Keep it in your pants.
Picking up extra chairs. Classics.
You're just like, you don't know anything. Calm down there, Casanova.
You have no job and no money.
And no transportation, so your parents would have to pick you up, so have fun with that. Yeah. All right. Well, last call? Anything else you want to talk? Any topics?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, this is however long it's been more time spent revisiting youth group than I ever wanted to.
Wow. Well, I had a positive,
I had a
experience with
blast. It was I honestly, one of my favorite topics we ever talked about. I laughed so hard.
Oh, I enjoyed the topic. I just, I enjoyed talking with you guys, but
Yeah.
Mike's gonna like wake up in the hot sweats thinking that he has to, go on stage and play music because he's the pastor's kid and all that.
Well, that was one of the one things that I actually wanted to do, was the music. Everything else was very much like.
Was it because like
every
you
other
could
role?
shred, so you're just like this will impress people?
Oh, 100%. It was
Okay.
all wild arrogance. It was. I just wanted to be on stage playing music in front of people. I wanted to get a chance to perform.
Yeah, even my dad was like, "Yeah, Mike is having a really good time up there." It's like, yeah, he is.
Him and that Fender.
It's a good guitar.
All right. Well, Lou, what are we talking about next week? Caught him off
Oh,
guard.
top five movies that failed in the box office, but you love.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
There's some carry
jeez.
over there from last week's.
box office and like Rotten Tomatoes. It can't get past like 50.
Wait. So, is it and or?
No,
Like,
both.
Oh god.
They have to fail in the box office and they have to fail.
So our top 5 bad
Rating.
movies.
Top 5. Yeah,
Hey, watch your
top 5. Bad.
Watch your profanity.
I'm sorry. Yeah, top 5 favorite bad.
Well, I don't know how it's categorized. Like if it's a box
Oh,
office flop and it's bad
perfect.
on.
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm upset because I didn't think about it.
Oh, it's gonna be
Top
tough,
5
boys.
bad movies. That I can get down with. Movies that I like that other people don't like. Easy.
I got Boondock Saints. Than that, I have too refined of a palate. I'm just too good. I like too good of movies. That's...
Am I too good? Am I too much of an alpha?
All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this. Let us know your youth group stories. What do you think? Did you ever go to youth group? Did you ever, was that not a thing? Let us know your blind ranks too. Was this podcast on fleek? That type of thing. Cray, whatever. Let us know your terms. Just drive Michael crazy. We'd love to hear it. Go ahead, comment down on YouTube or Spotify. We got some people over on Spotify. Other than that, hope you guys have a great week. Leave a comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Peace.
Adios, muchachos and muchachas.